Yo, what's up, Seth? How's it going? Can you hear me okay? How's it going, everyone? Just wanted to hop on live real quick, talk about a few things. And we can honestly talk about anything today. I have some time today. Let's get this bread in UXIN and IDEX. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, hey, hey. So, three companies I'm watching the most right now are NIO, of course. That's number one. I talk about it the most. It's what I care about the most. If everything else went to zero, I would hope that it wouldn't be NIO. Number two that I'm talking about, that I talk about or have taken an interest in, and have the most interest in right now, aside of that, is Clover Health. Number three is UXIN, and that's just because I think that the business model and the landscape around it, what's going on over there in that emerging market is very interesting. And um, you know, investing doesn't have to be boring. If you guys notice, I invest in things that are interesting to me, stuff that I like. Um, and obviously, I do vet the companies that I invest in, and I try to make sure, at least for myself, and this isn't financial advice, of course, that they are companies that have exponential growth in the future at the same time. So it's interesting to, have some skin in the game. You kind of feel like you're on a team, but at the same time, these opportunities are like opportunities that are actually shaping the future in some capacity or less. Eddie says Neo is killing me. You're not the only one, buddy. What the only thing that I've been doing for the past few weeks with Neo is hedging my bet, selling covered calls. Stock goes down, I make money. Stock goes up, I make money. Now I don't make as much money if the stock goes down, and sometimes I lose money because I have to close out that position. But overall, I've made a good amount of coin selling covered calls over the past few weeks with the Nasdaq kind of having like a sideways chop. I think it's around, last time I checked, it was at like 14K, so back to where I would want it to be. Crypto. Oh yeah, let me give you guys an update on crypto. I mentioned on the channel that I hopped out of Ethereum at like 2100 or something, all-time high. It's obviously shot past that. It went down and I could have got back in for cheaper. But it's up now wherever it is today. I think I saw it at like 2300. Bitcoin also hopped out of that. I feel like there is kind of a lot of uncertainty and like FOMO in the crypto space right now. So I hopped out of Bitcoin, hopped out of Ethereum, just not worth my time right now and not worth the stress. No one ever goes broke taking a profit. Now I'm sitting on a good amount of cash that is ready to be invested or used for other things. Um, I'm gonna get a position in Ford again. I think for me, I had a position in Ford a long, 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 long time ago. And I actually sold out of it. I think for me, if I was going to invest in a legacy automaker, it would have to be at the inflection point because businesses go through pain when there's big changes that go on inside of the business. Don't expect for Ford to just flip a switch, or Volkswagen to just flip a switch, or what, my mind's going blank right now, or Chevy to just flip a switch and start selling um a lot of electric vehicles and expect that them moving from petrol to electric vehicles isn't going to hurt their business. They're going to cannibalize their existing customer base. So if I'm going to invest in a company like that, like Ford, and I'm not being anti-American, I like Ford. The Mustang Mach E is cool and whatnot. But if I'm going to invest in a company like Ford, I'm going to invest at a point where the company's gone through pain, that's reflected in the stock price, and then it seems like more of a turnaround play, and that's kind of like what I'm doing with UXIN. Someone says, what about Tough Built? I like Tough Built. Haven't sold a share, still holding it. Just being patient with that one. All my companies that I'm holding right now, I'm holding until like 20. I'm my timeline for what I have in the stock market right now is 2030. Then when I get to 2030, I'll probably reevaluate and say, hey, just wait another 10 years, 2040. Um, just thinking long term. So, where NIO trades at today doesn't bug me. If I could, I would be adding more to my position, but right now I'm focused on building out that Clover Health position. I'm almost done there. And then it's probably going to be back to NIO, but NIO is kind of overweight in my portfolio. I'm not going to lie. I'm just working on rebalancing without really selling any shares, and still going to get the benefits of long-term capital gains because it's been over a year. Well, not over a year for all my shares, but you know what I mean. A lot of those shares were held for more than a year, so doing really great with NIO as far as I'm concerned. A year ago around this time, it was in like the $2 range, so I don't have any complaints. And then also the fundamentals are like improving across the business with NIO, so you can't be mad at that. In fact, NIO's, I actually wanted to talk about this too. NIO's actually, in my opinion, ready for takeoff once the market gets back to normal. And I mean, once the market gets back to normal in terms of the geopolitical tensions calm down, the chip shortage issues are addressed, the NASDAQ holds steady, not just where it's at today. Is it going to hold steady? So, once everything gets back to normal and market conditions are optimal with the flurry of good news that we've been receiving from NIO, I think that NIO is set to run. And hopefully I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just a guy on the internet making his own prediction. Um, but yeah, we had that news with Ford. Ford, huge, 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 huge legacy automaker. Um, you know, over here in the US, and actually globally, Ford is one of the biggest automakers in the world. So for them to invest in NIO's um electric vehicle infrastructure, that speaks volumes to me, and that's why I had to put out that video yesterday. And then with the Sinopec deal being confirmed by NIO, which should go through, or which should happen on April 15th, which is tomorrow. It's just back to back to back good news. Before that, they have cooperations, two separate ones to build battery swapping stations on the expressways. So it's real. The story's really just been all good news. 500 battery swapping stations is an understatement. What if we see 1,000 battery swapping stations by the end of this year? I'm not going to put that on there as an expectation, but in the past, 1,000 battery swapping stations for NIO, that was guidance. They fell short of it. They set 500. Now they clearly want to under promise and over deliver. William Lee said it himself. Ford's going to be a huge source of revenue for them. Charging stations are already profitable. NIO can produce as much vehicles as they can produce, but I'm pretty sure Ford can produce a lot of vehicles as well. So they're all going to be charging on NIO infrastructure, and it's not going to be the same. It's going to be a lot more people charging and paying. So JGB Renovation sent me $5. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, something small for your hard work. Thanks as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Ford is cheap right now. Ford's got some FOMO. For me personally, I'll wait on Ford. You know, they're trying to turn their business around though. Ford is a turnaround story. I've been watching Ford since last year. They had plans to electrify a lot sooner, but I guess the pandemic put a damper on that. Clover's revenue has been stagnant, falling for the last 3 quarters. What is your opinion on that? So I actually did uh did a video on their annual report. Clover's revenue was up dramatically from 2019 to 2020. Now, um, and their revenue was up at the with operating expense. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I want to say operating expense only increased by like 3%. You know, from the year on year perspective, Clover helped look like a great business. Um, I need to really look at the balance sheet again. I can't confirm that statistic. But I do remember the year on year perspective for Clover, and the year on year results were great actually. And you can Google that too. You'll find out that it's exactly what I'm saying. Um, but also, as far as Clover, like I'm not putting pressure on the company right now. Someone's calling me. I'm not putting pressure on the company right now because Clover is a play that I want to see like some solid results by. Oh my gosh, this guy keeps calling me. Clover is something that I want to see some solid results by 2025 because the Medicare market is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. There is, as Chamath said, this is a business that you can own around politics as well. There's Democrat support and there's Republican support for Medicare. There's no issue there. Um, the Biden administration wants to reduce the age of Medicare from 65 to age 60. We're all getting older. The population is increasing. People want better health outcomes at lower cost. That's how I feel. Why wouldn't people choose the cheapest insurance? When we're shopping around for car insurance, we shop around for the lowest rates. If Medicare is a needs-based business, that's good for the company and people are going to choose the lowest rates. 45% cheaper than government Medicare plans, and what was it, 20% cheaper than the nearest competitor, or 17, something around there. But they are the cheapest. Clover Health is a business that interests me because it's very straight. It's straightforward, and the share price has been beaten down. So I'm actually getting ready to add more on Friday. I'm just seeing if these covered calls, if I need to buy them back or not. So in NIO, my NIO covered calls. If I don't, then that money's going into Clover Health. But I have some Honda stock and they are so far behind in EVs. It's easier to build an EV factory than convert an existing combustible factory to EV. 100% Ken. I completely agree. Um, I completely agree because your customers, everyone's not ready to move with you. There's laggards in the market. Not everyone wants to be at the front of the market. Not everyone wants to make the switch to electric vehicles right now, which is why, as I'm looking out the window, I see plenty of ICE vehicles drive by. I drive an ICE vehicle right now. So you got to think about your customers on that aspect, and then switching out your factories, that's going to cost billions and billions of dollars in infrastructure. And like electric vehicles, the ones that are being made the best right now, i.e. Tesla and NIO, there's a lot of automation going on in those factories. So what are you just going to do? You're going to take a big risk, get rid of get rid of a fair amount of your employees. It just doesn't make sense. But what do you think about Robinhood IPO? Robinhood IPO sounds good to me. If WeBull ever IPOs, I'll definitely buy into the WeBull IPO. I think WeBull should eventually have an IPO. But you know, we'll wait and we'll see because you know, Robinhood 2020 was a great year for them. 2020 was a great year for Webull. 2020 was a great year for Charles Schwab. 2020 was a great year for fintech in general. You know, all these companies saw record amounts of new investors, new market participants, new clients, and it all just made sense, right? There was nothing to do at home. Uh, People who typically bet on sports are temporarily canceled. So those people want to bet in the stock market. Everyone hears that stock's going up. everyone wants to invest in stocks. There was such an inflow of money coming into stocks, and then there's all this money printing, and the smart money knows that that you have to kind of chase the yield a little bit. Sitting on cash is trash, so people were dumping in their money into the market trying to chase the yield. On top of that, um, those people already know that, and then their friends start hearing about it, and their friends are like, man, stocks only go up, which we all know isn't true. And they feel like, okay, if this guy can invest in stocks, I can invest in stocks too. And those people start putting their money into the market. And I go on a tangent, and I'm going down a rabbit hole, but yeah, the public has shown that they like fintech products like Robinhood and WeBull, and Kevin O'Leary has said this on CNBC. People need to learn how to trade. So you know, I'm not going to say I stand behind Robinhood, but I'll say that I support Robinhood. I'll say that I support platforms by Webull, and I am in a partnership with Webull. But Webull is just an amazing platform for me. There's so many options, so many different things that I can do on the platform. Maybe it can be a little more complicated. I've used both platforms before. I actually do have both platforms, but majority of my stocks that they sit on Webull. I have some on Charles Schwab. I have a good amount of money on BlockFi. I have money in Fundrise, which is just slow, safe money in a REIT. Um, and then outside of that, I have money in a business. Although they did stop the trades with AMC and GameStop, yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. That's why I said I won't stand with Robinhood, but I support what they're trying to do, because a lot of those people, a lot of people wouldn't even be in the market right now if it wasn't for Robinhood. Um, let's be honest. I think you're gonna short that IPO when it comes out. I'm gonna short the IPO. I'm not gonna short it. Um, Dogecoin, nope. I'm not touching that one. It could be something. I'll just say that I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. So I'm not the biggest crypto expert. So you guys won't see me in Dogecoin at all. But I've heard that it's been going crazy actually lately. Let me see if I missed anything. But yeah, Tough Built Industries, I think, has potential to be one of the biggest. How do I want to say this? One of the biggest household names in the construction industry. It's going to take time. There's going to be trials and tribulations along the way, but if they can execute, I think the stock can at least go somewhere further than where it's at today. What is it at? 90 cents now after quote unquote lackluster earnings, which I think still prove that the company was a growth stock. They grew over 100% year over year. Now, obviously, like they were financing that growth, but that's what happens with growth stocks. Some of them you're going to buy into the debt. You're going to buy when there's a lot of debt around the company. We're waiting for them to be profitable, and it's all about when you get in if you're thinking long term. So hopefully it works out. I've seen great stuff from the company last year. I don't expect anything bad to happen. In my experience, the numbers are very meaningful, yes. But if the numbers are tolerable, if you are in a good company, that is the most important thing. You don't want to be buying into a blockbuster, a type of company that's going to be disrupted. I'd rather be in the disruptor than the disruptee. I'd rather be in the electric vehicles than the ICE vehicles. I'd rather be in the streaming plays than the traditional mediums of media. So that's kind of how I think about it. How many holdings do you have? Do you mean shares? I don't. I haven't talked about that yet. Eventually, I will probably, but no, I'm not putting my finances out there, as I have friends and family that watch the channel. But I have a good amount of money in the market for someone who just got out of college literally last year. Um, enough to buy the things that I want. Did I buy crypto today? No, I didn't. I'm waiting. I saw that there was a huge boom in crypto here, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm waiting. I have cash sitting on the sideline, is what I mean. So, when there's a quick, even if it's a minor correction, I will hop back into my Bitcoin and back into my Ethereum. I'll do a 50-50 split. If that doesn't happen, then oh well, I just missed the boat, but I made profit and you can't be mad about that. Oh, so you said how many holdings do you have? Let's see. I have Clover Health. I have Stratasys 3D printing. I have UXIN. I have Tough Built Industries. I have IDEX. And of course, I have NIO. So I have 7 holdings right now. Um, I'm waiting to get back into Bitcoin and Ethereum. If I don't, then I had plans for that money anyway. So we'll see. But I only have 7. I know that a lot of people would be like, you only have 7 companies? That's not a diversified portfolio. Well, um, I feel like as at the age I'm at right now, I feel like my risk tolerance is pretty high. I feel like I have a high risk tolerance. I can bounce back from a loss if it happens. I don't plan on using the money anytime soon, and I feel like concentration can build wealth. Once I build that wealth, really, I'm not rich by any means. Once I build that wealth is when I'll spread it out and diversify more, because then my goal is to grow it conservatively and kind of protect it. But yeah, I only have 7. Um, I'm afraid of a currency that is not based on a product. Yes, Ken, Bitcoin is really, to me, the only thing you need to understand about anything in the crypto sector, well, majority of things in the crypto sector, because obviously, XRP and Ripple, they have their own thing going on and their own use applications. And obviously, like Ethereum does as well. But the most general, the broadest understanding, the baseline understanding that you have to have about crypto is it's just a confidence game. That's all it is. Um, Crypto is literally just a confidence game. If investors, it's just supply and demand, really. If investors believe that Bitcoin should be somewhere and they're willing to put their dollars behind it, they're willing to pay what they are willing to pay for it, then the price goes up. That's all it is. There's no The only underlying fundamentals are like the minor, or not even minor, because these are major things, but the specifics of the exact cryptocurrency. Like, for example, if you're talking about Bitcoin, it's a scarce asset. You can't recreate it. It's proven. It's proving and proving itself even more over the years. Every 4 years there's a halving. The supply is limited, but fiat currency, they print that out of thin air. So so it goes back to what I was saying. Crypto is a belief system. Do people believe in Bitcoin's use application, the decentralization, versus fiat currency? If people do believe in that, then the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. We see if institutions start buying, the price is going to go up. There's been some institutions buying. If retail starts buying massively, the price is going to go up. There's been a lot of retail investors buying, the price goes up. Um, Ethereum, DeFi 2.0, it's super complicated. I won't go into it completely like in this video, and I don't even understand everything about it. But I do understand that there is that to have a 50-50 split. And that's how I feel about crypto, because it's like, yes, because I've watched an interview with the biggest crypto bull. the biggest Bitcoin bull, I should say. Um, and he owns a hedge fund as well. And he is a crypto investor to the max. And he's bullish on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the future for him. I'm not going to say his name at all, but crypto is the future for him. Now, as bullish as he is on Bitcoin, he proposed the idea that, okay, as good allocators of capital, we're bullish on Bitcoin, but we're still going to have a 50-50 split between that and Ethereum, which we don't believe will win, but there's a chance. And the risk reward disproportionately, say Ethereum is successful, however much they make in Ethereum will support whatever they don't make in Bitcoin. Say Bitcoin is successful, whatever they make in Bitcoin will support what they don't make in Ethereum. So that was kind of a good idea for me. You know, I kind of took that idea and I felt like, okay, as a good allocator of capital, I'll have a 50-50 split between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I also feel like those are the most trusted cryptocurrencies these days. Bitcoin is the big boy. Ethereum is the runner up. I was making swings in Ethereum. I made a few swing trades in Ethereum because I noticed that as with this crypto run, every time Bitcoin would take off, Ethereum might lag a little bit behind. So at first I was all Bitcoin. As Bitcoin started to shoot up, trim my position, put some in Ethereum. Ethereum kind of climbed up a little bit. Okay, Bitcoin climbs up a little bit more, trim my position, put some in Ethereum. Ethereum climbed up a little bit. And I kept doing that till I had like 50-50 exposure to both of them. But you know, it was a great strategy. I ended up finally getting out of both of them, and I'm waiting to get back in, and hopefully I can do the same thing again. With the electronics and graphic card supply so low, why is AMD not increasing like Nvidia? Um, so I haven't really been watching AMD, um, but you know, I can't answer that question. What's your thoughts on Tough Built? But I will say, as far as like AMD and Nvidia, I'll speak on Intel. I'll speak on Intel and say that you know, I was watching this podcast with Kathy Woods last weekend, and she said that Intel is likely to lose a lot of market share in the next 3 years. And mind you, she's not the only one that said this. I watched an interview with Chamath a long time ago, and like he's not very bullish on Intel. Obviously, the company will still be there, too big to fail. As he said, he's not arguing viability, but you know, they've been put in this space by all these other companies making these chips, and they really need to innovate. So Intel can be a turnaround play, you know, if they do what they're supposed to do. And I'm more of, when it comes to Intel, their main business is the chips that they make. But I'm more of a fan of their subsidiaries, the companies that they acquired, the companies that they bought out. You know, it's very interesting to look at Mobileye and see what Mobileye is doing. Mobileye is doing some pretty cool things. CEO of Mobileye, you know, I watched that because of NIO. He said that he said robo taxis will be a thing by 2022. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens, and we'll pay attention to that, and we'll see. How are you? Did you check out TBLT after hours? You dropped 10%. I didn't. I am if I wasn't doing let me say this, if I wasn't doing YouTube every day, uh you know, there's no reason for me to watch the share price on any stock unless it's time to enter, unless I'm thinking about entering it, you know. I watch Neo stock every day. I can tell you where it's at literally every day, but TBLT, that's something that I'm just letting my position ride. Same thing with UXIN. That's something that I'm just letting my position ride. But I'll give you my thoughts on UXIN because I'm kind of disappointed with the company, to be honest. I'm disappointed with the fact that there's no I like the company, by the way, but I'm disappointed in the company because there's no PR. There's not enough PR coming to American investors. You're raising capital in the US. You need to keep investors up to date. Like when is the earnings call going to be? And if I email investor relations and they tell me that it's going to be in March, and now what are we midway through April?